Not even half an hour southwest of Rapid City, South Dakota is Big Thunder Gold Mine. We saw lots of rustic equipment used in the gold mining process in years gone by. There was a small stream that flowed through the property, a porch to relax on, and a gift shop. If you have a mind to, they will teach you how to pan for gold, and afterwards you can try your hand at your new skill. It is the end of the season, and there were a few folks panning, but I was the only one on the tour of the mine. I like that I can ask a lot of questions. This video is about how men of old, with only hand tools and explosives, dug a mine out of solid rock. Wow, I'm sitting here just waiting for the gold mine tour to begin, and I look out here, and lo and behold, what is that I see out here? I see a view of Mount Rushmore. Hold it steady, Rick. Hold it steady. You're on maximum zoom. Yeah, it's kind of low. A short guy like me done hit his head on the top, but I got a helmet on.
Every once in a while I get a big old guy in here that's like 6'6", and I feel bad for him.
A driller?
Yep. So, I suppose if your hands were already dirty, kind of do one of those. And then when the guy's swinging the hammer, he's looking for that candlelight to shine off his thumbnail.
Oh.
Yeah,
it's
that's
that
what
dark.
he's aiming for.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, there's consequences if you're not careful, right? As far as I know, at the end of the 35 years, both miners had both their thumbs.
They had both their thumbs.
At the end of it all, but that's, yeah, this is what they're doing.
This green on the ceiling, is that?
It's just because of breathe in and everything else. It's just moss.
Yeah.
It's not natural. It's just because of, I usually get 20 people all bunched up right here. We're all breathing. And,
comes in off the air and whatever.
Yeah. Now, when they get a hole like so, they'll put this one to the side. Get another bit, might be a 2-footer, 3, maybe a 4-footer. You put it in there, count 1, 2, 3, move your thumb, swing and a hit, give it a turn, 1, 2, 3, over and over and over again. Basically what they're trying.
Drill wasn't safe?
No, and here's the thing, it would have been steam operated. It's a real simple tool. It's an expensive piece of equipment. Our guys, they can't afford something like this when they're first starting out. But, well, first off, simple. You got the bit out front, kind of shoots back and forth. And so you crank the handle, it moves the bit in. You crank it the other way, it moves it back out. It's real simple. But when this is operating, it's kicking out a ton of dust. And so our miners are going to breathe in that nasty, dusty air. And they develop what we call silicosis.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about the black lung for the coal mining guys, silicosis for the hard rock miners would be the equivalent. And so the guys on the drill crew here, they don't last very long. 5 years worth away. And guess how much gold they found?
How much gold did they find?
They didn't.
But from here to there was 5 years of work.
Yes, and that's why I say I think these boys are a little bit crazy. Because they were gambler at heart.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would you do this stuff?
Hobby mind.
I mean, it's not natural. Why would you go in a hole underground and all that kind of, no thanks.
It's nice.
Not for me.
It's nice and cool in here.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what, this passageway is a lot bigger than that Black Hills Cavern passageway.
Oh, yeah.
How far does this go back?
Long ways. I'll tell you when you get there.
Okay.
It's all part of the story.
Does it pop out at Rapid City?
No. Not even close. We'll go back a couple of football fields. So, real quick, and let you know there was other mining to the north here. The fellows over here, they run into what they call the Lucky Boy Vein. Our fellows know about the Lucky Boy Vein. They're hoping as they work their way in here, maybe they'll intersect with it and maybe they'll strike it rich. Before I tell you the rest of that story, I want to tell you about the Mucking Chief here. Basically, it's a big old sheet of iron. It's 4 feet wide. 9 feet long. It's about 1/4 inch thick, and it weighs between 650 and 700 pounds for one of them. What they'll do is they're going to lay these in the floor, end to end, probably 3 or 4 of them in here at least. And so it serves a few different purposes. First off, if you think about it, you're going to have the rails in the floor, right? For the ore carts to go in and out. And you got all the little cross pieces underneath, kind of like a railroad track. And so that means there's about 1,000,002 places for you to catch a toe somewhere, twist an ankle, maybe fall down and break your leg. If you're back here making a blast, maybe you fall down, break your leg, and blow yourself up all in one afternoon. Yeah, it's dangerous work, man. But anyways, these are pretty important. Like I said, lay them in the floor, end to end, 3 or 4 of them at least. First off, it's going to be protection. Because if I'm making a blast, I'd hate for one of these big rocks to come flying off in the blast, maybe bend up my rails or break something, right? And so it's protection. The mucking part of this is, if you ever mucked out a horse stable or anything, you know what I'm talking about. Doing some shoveling, right?
Yeah.
Same thing here. Much easier to shovel off of a nice flat surface.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got to get in all the little nooks and crannies. That's a lot of extra work no one wants to do. And so it makes it a lot easier.
Well, I said,
Oh, what was your question?
what I was thinking is when they first digging this mine, it wasn't a smooth floor.
No,
It was as rough as the ceiling was.
Yeah, and the rails and everything.
Yeah.
But we gotta have this because it's gotta be ADA compliant so we can let people in here.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Damn government. Anyways, the other thing about this is the safety part. If I am gonna make a blast back here, you light the fuse, you gotta hurry up and run this way, right? Now with these on the floor, at least for that first bit of distance, get a nice smooth flat surface to walk on, you're less likely to fall down, break your leg, and blow yourself up one afternoon.
Yeah.
Like I said, these are important. Now, I told you about the indicator rocks, and I told you about the Lucky Boy vein just a minute ago, right?
Crystal, graphite, and
Quartz,
quartz.
graphite, and iron pyrite.
Got it.
So, but I told you about all this stuff, and sure enough, they run into it right here. That little splash of white right there, that's quartz. The other material that runs through the crease here, that's graphite. It's 2 of the 3 indicators, and sure enough, they found a little bit of gold here. But when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. It was only 1 ounce of gold. And back in those days, 1 ounce of gold will only get you about 20 bucks. I guess they're only added up to 1 ounce, and it's only worth 20 bucks. Even in those days, at those prices, I bet you they've spent more than 20 bucks in 16 years just buying candles and powder to get back here.
Oh, yeah.
Not even mentioning all the mucking sheets and the rails and the ore carts and the tools and everything else.
What is this rock called here, the gray looking?
So, let me finish this part first, and I'll get into the...
Yeah, there's definitely water seeping in here.
So this is some iron over here, all nice and dry, not so much. In fact, you see where it's growing a little bit of rust there.
That's from the calcium carbonate, the limestone.
No, calcium carbonate is the white stuff. This is because of the iron ore.
Ah,
That's why it looks like it's growing rust there. But
okay.
the calcium carbonate is the white stuff.
I tell you, I made the right decision to go back to my car and get my jacket.
Ah, there you go.
Woo!
Yeah, see, I grew up in Wisconsin, so this is nothing. But San Antonio, yeah, that's a whole different animal. I got you. So they're working their way in here. They're back here pretty far. What's becoming troublesome for our guys is there's really no air circulation in here. And so when they make a blast, a bunch of that dust and debris just kind of hangs in the air. And it might take a whole day or maybe 2 sometimes just for everything to settle. And then it's safer for them to come in here and go back to work. They made a blast one day, they left, they come back the next. When they looked in the front end, it was clear as far as they could see.
Okay, we gotta investigate. They actually made it all the way back here to the back of the mine, clear for the entire distance. And so now they know something's up, something's out of the ordinary. Poke around and look, this is what they found. So we got a little air shaft right there.
Natural air shaft.
Naturally occurring air shaft. That is a very rare find here in the Black Hills. We do not get very many of these, not in the hills anyways. A geologist, in fact, he claimed to be a professor from the School of Mines, and he said that actually there's some iron pyrite somewhere along in here, and that water gets to it and it breaks it down. But this is what we call a flow stone. And anyways, it's breaking down some of that pyrite up there.
It's nice and slick and
Yeah.
wet.
Now, the other source of information that I have is a little 10-year-old kid, a little boy, and he said he had been on another gold mine tour, and they told them that when they seen something like this, they told him that that was donkey snot. And so, I never saw a diploma from the guy who claimed to be a professor, so you could believe whichever source of information you want. And the reason for that is, one, in case you do find a spot where there's some water, it'll naturally drain. But the other thing is, if your cart is empty, it's much easier to push it uphill when it's empty than when it's full. And if it is full, why not use gravity to get it out of here? But you can only go at about a 1 to 2 degree incline and be safe. If you get too steep, then it's good, right? That's dangerous, so they don't do that. So here's the thing. These guys are in here drilling and blasting. Then they hit the air shaft back here. That's at about 28 years when they hit the air shaft. And so that puts our guys in their early 70s. Don't know about you, but I don't want to be swinging a 20-pound hammer when I'm 70 years old, even if it is my hobby. But the reason everything looks different is they go and they get a $200 loan to get that drill. And so they're using the drill. I don't feel bad about it. They're in their 70s. I figured they deserve it. But I told you that drill is very dangerous to use. But now they got the air shaft, the air circulation, and so it becomes much safer to use that drill back here in this particular mine. And so now they got the tool, they got the new tunneling strategy, and just barreling their way in here as far and as fast as they can go till they hit that big funky wall back there. Looks like a bunch more rust, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And so that's a whole wall of that iron ore back there. And the thing is, that's some super hard rock. And so when the guys run into that, our drill bits are going dull really fast. It's tearing up the equipment. Doesn't take the boys very long, and they realize they're not going east anymore. Now, at that point, they actually started going upwards. Up is much easier than down. But the thing is, well, this wall is about 580 feet from the front entrance here. And so, that 20 by 200, that puts our guys at the far end of the third claim coming straight in. Like I said, it doesn't make sense. They're in their 70s. They're almost at the end of their area, but they work upwards for a little while.
The claim was 20 by 200.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, they did that for a while. They said, okay, we're done doing that. Then they went to the north here. On the north wall, you can see 3 bars sticking through the wall back there. Told you there's mining going on to the north. There's a mine shaft on the other side of this wall.
Oh, no
The
kidding.
guys on the other side are the ones that are responsible for pounding those bars through the wall. They're 6 feet long. It's an indication for our guys when you get here, that's the end of your claim and the beginning of theirs.
Oh, my goodness.
So if they keep going north, that's claim jumping. Technically, that's a shooting offense. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
When they run into this, it's a fairly common practice in the mining in the old days. But when they run into this, they realize that's the end of their claim. The other guys begins. And so they probably said, hey, thanks for the heads up, fellas. And then they turn and they head south. When they head south, they went a bit past their 20 feet, if you notice. And so what happened was they ran into some gold on this south end here, some gold producing ore. So they took an extra little nibble here and another one there, whatever. They just got a little extra. No one has a claim to the south of them, and so nobody's really going to get upset about it. what they're doing is they want to establish if it's high grade ore or low grade ore.
Yeah.
If it's high grade stuff, they'll make another claim, but they can't do that fast enough, right? If it's high grade stuff, but if it's low grade ore, man, who cares?
What
Nobody's
was
gonna get in trouble or anything, right?
what was the cost to file a claim?
I do not know. I wish somebody would tell me the answer to that. I haven't been able to figure it out.
Yeah, you got some little stalactites up there.
Oh, yeah. So, these guys, they found 10 ounces of gold in this room while they were in here. That's for a grand whopping total of 11 ounces of gold at $20 an ounce for 35 years worth of work.
My.
Pretty pitiful if you ask me. Now, on the back wall, you can see some little silver tags back there, 6 or 7 altogether, I think. In the School of Mines here in Rapid, they sent somebody up in the early 2000s, poked around, they had ground penetrating radar, probably some other cool tools. And they determined there's approximately 1 ounce of gold behind each one of those tags back there. Just a little bit further back. Had the boys drilled and blasted it and nibbled a little bit more, they could have, well, it wouldn't even have doubled what they get out of here, actually. But they could have tripled or quadrupled what they got out of here, and it still would have been a pitiful sum for 35 years. Now, at the end of all of this, I lose track of one of the miners. He kind of disappears from the stuff. We'll say he had a few deferments along the way, still owes the guy a couple of bucks. That'd be twice as nice because he wouldn't have to pay it back because he just won that guy's tool company as part of that poker game. Not just that, but another mine, a couple more claims, some other miscellaneous stuff. And so that is the happy ending for the story. This poor old man who's almost 80 years old finally gets to retire.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and he lasted another 18 months, not quite 2 years, thereabouts. And so, yeah, that's the happy ending.
That is a happy ending.
So, what I need for you to do, if you would just move over here for a bit, I'm going to fire up the candle. I'm going to turn the lights out. Yeah, there you should be okay. The main thing is I don't want you to see the light from down the tunnel here. If you, I don't know if that's got any lights on it, but we can. If it does, we'll just slide it in your pocket for a second. I'm going to turn the lights out. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, yeah. Not very much light to work by, is it?
Imagine working
with these fellas. Yeah.
Doing
it's
all
like,
this work and that's your light.
like a bunch of mole people. Yeah. I wouldn't do it. Now, here's the thing. I'd much rather be swinging the hammer than holding the bit.
Yeah.
Thing is, you see my thumb?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't work great, but that's what they were working with. That's just crazy. I wouldn't do it. I'd find a better way to make some grocery money. You bet I would.
But
Now,
you get that gold fever though.
here's the fun part, and I'll talk about that in a little while too. It might not be exactly what you think it is. But now we're going to do the fun part. I'm going to blow the candle out. I'm going to do a demonstration, or excuse me, an experiment.
Okay.
But I need you to follow instructions, okay?
Okay.
Now, put your thumb on the end, see you can see the light off of that thing. Put it
Yeah.
in your pocket for a second, please. So, ooh, I can still see some on my candle here. Put your thumb on the end of your nose. Wiggle your fingers. Can you see your fingers move?
Not a bit.
I can. It's a bunch of fun when you get about 20 people in here.
Yeah.
And the reason I want you to put that in your pocket is any kind of light, and you can see.
Yeah.
But that's why when you make everybody come over here so that they can't see the light from down the
It was
tunnel.
total black.
But the idea is, if something is this close and you can't see it, it's pretty damn dark in here, right? I mean, it's plain and simple. That's what it comes down to. Now, yeah, I imagine that would happen to a fellow one time in his life that he ended up in a situation where he didn't have some extra matches in his pocket, right? Because if it happened the first time, every single time I go in a hole after that, where's my matches at, right? Because they didn't have the old flick-a-bic or none of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better make sure you got matches in your pocket. Because otherwise, I mean, imagine if you're working, you bump your candle, or you're just working really hard, not paying attention and it burns out on you, ooh, man, it's gonna get really dark really fast. And I don't know about you, but I don't wanna crawl 600 feet on my hands and knees, right? On a railroad track to try to get out of here. Yeah, I'd have found a better way to make groceries. Anyways, we're done back here. We're gonna head back out front. When we get out front, we're gonna make a right turn into that building and I'll explain how they processed all that gold ore that they were taking out of the mines.
Awesome.
So, let's head this way. Can go in there with material that's softball or maybe cantaloupe size. If it's bigger, gotta bust it up so it'll go in there. Top rotates and grinds that material. It comes out the bottom. Then it goes to the grizzly. If that stuff comes out of there small enough that it falls through the slots on the grizzly, that's beautiful. If not, if it's too big, it'll get collected out front. Now run that through the jaw crusher back here over and over till it's small enough. It all falls through the slots on the grizzly, drops down into the ore chute. The ore chute brings it to the back of the stamp mill here.
Okay, that's what that is, because I saw one of those out in front of the Homestake mine, and there was no description of what it was.
And so that's a stamp mill. This is a 5 stamp mill. Now, what I heard was the one that they had up at Homestake was an 80 stamp mill.
80?
80.
80?
80. This is only 5. Here's the thing. Each one of those stamps weighs about a ton. And so you can kind of tell with the mechanism up top there, but on the end of the shaft may have had a belt connected to a paddle wheel in the creek. You get the stream to provide the power. That's beautiful.
I bet
right?
that thing made a lot of noise.
Oh, hell yes. And so, yeah, when that's turning, it lifts it up. At a certain point, it releases it. It's 1 ton of force coming down on that material. It's basically just pulverizing it. And the thing is, they want to pulverize it because gold doesn't normally form up in the nice little nuggets that everybody likes to find. In fact, here in the Black Hills, 99% of what we've got in the hills is small enough it'll fall through the screen on your screen door tiles.
Oh.
And so that's why they want to pulverize it in order to release
Smash
those little pieces of gold.
So then it comes.
Now, here's the thing. Anytime you get gold and mercury close to each other, it's going to make a natural amalgamation with a strong, really good, strong bond. It's difficult to break that bond. Now, the other thing is they're going to add water to the mix here too, right? So they basically have pounded that stuff into a powder. Now they're adding water to it. They're going to make what they call a slurry. Basically, it's just watery mud. And then that slurry goes across the copper table.
Is there a specific reason it's copper?
Yes, that's what so it's the thing. Anytime you get gold and mercury and they get close, that makes that really strong bond. That mercury will act in the same way with the copper on the table here. It'll make the amalgamation, but it's nowhere near as strong as it is with the gold. But it's enough, it'll hold the mercury on the table. When the slurry goes by, the heavy, dense gold will work its way to the bottom of the slurry. When it does, it gets close to the mercury. Like I said, it's like old pals. It's going to latch on and won't let go, and most of your gold gets recovered up here. The rest of that slurry goes across the wellfree here. It's got a little pivot point, kind of shakes back and forth. The heavy bits with the gold in, hopefully, gets caught in the riffles. The rest is washed away as waste. When your material's done with this process, they're going to shut this all down. They're going to scrape and get all the bits and goodies off the wellfree, scrape and get the amalgamated gold and mercury off the copper, and then get it over to the assayers. When they get to the assay office, if they have enough material, they might use one of the big crucibles by the back window. If not, we got other ones. We got small ones, mediums, different sizes. To put that material in a crucible and bring it next door to the blacksmith shop and put it on the forge here. They're going to use heat. They're going to burn off or vaporize all the mercury. You're left with the gold after, right? And that's how they're going to break that really strong bond, by using the heat. You vaporize the mercury, you're left with the gold. Thing is, that mercury is some nasty, toxic stuff, right?
They didn't
Remember
know
the
that back
stories?
then.
Well, remember the stories about the Mad Hatters and how they get loopy because of the mercury poison or the exposure to the mercury? Same thing for the miners. The guys that I feel bad for are the fellas over on the tables over here because they didn't have nice latex gloves like we got nowadays. Even if they did have gloves, they're over there slopping this stuff around, they're gonna get mercury poisoning through their skin. We added water to the mix. Water always goes back to the low point, which means the creek. So now we've effectively mercury poisoned everything downstream also.
Oh my goodness.
We also got these knuckleheads who are mercury, they're vaporizing the mercury. Now that's in the air for you to breathe also. When you mentioned gold fever, that's actually what they're talking about, is the effects of mercury poisoning. Right? You get the jitters, you slur your speech. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on. And it's because of the mercury poisoning.
You know,
It's not just mercury. Arsenic was a part of it. At one time, they developed a technique where they used cyanide to recover their gold. And
I
so,
remember as a kid, we could go to the pharmacy and buy mercury and used to wiggle it
Nowadays,
around in your hand.
yeah.
You can clean coins with it.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with me now, I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays, you can't hardly buy a mercury thermometer
Yeah.
anymore. It's next to impossible.
And that was in the 1960s, early
Yeah.
60s.
Sounds right. Yep. Anyways,
What's this red thing here?
so it's a toilet,
Oh,
basically. Thing is, in the old days, they strip searched the miners at the end of the shift,
uh-huh.
right? In case they do find a nugget, they don't want them sneaking out in their boot or anywhere else. And so they get strip searched. And so the miners go, oh, okay, well, we can still get gold out of here. If you got a nugget, you eat it. You wait till the end of the shift and you try to recover it later on. And so, yeah, if you're on a big enough of an operation, you might have one of these. And the mine owner he's thinking, hopefully I'll catch a few of these guys trying to get a piece out. Everybody's playing the odds. The miner thinks, oh, I could eat it now and I'll get it later. But maybe he can't wait till later. He loses his nugget. Or more likely, he goes home, can't produce the nugget, gets back to work the next day, and now he does, and now he loses it, right?
Yes.
Anyways, the whole idea is, yeah, when this is full, they're gonna have a lottery to see who gets to clean it out. Not who has to, but who gets to.
I watching a video about diamond mines in South Africa, and that's a
Same kind of
problem
thing.
they have. And they have toilets, and I think they give them laxative at the end of the shift to make them go. And then all those toilets, they're like porta potties. They have screens in them to catch the diamonds.
Yep. Same kind of idea, basically.
Well, thank you for the tour.
Yeah. The box here, that's people like that once in a while too. That's for transporting your dynamite.
Yeah.
Well, because we didn't have nice smooth roads. So
Probably
if your
not.
wagon wheel hits a root or a rock or a hole or whatever, you don't want to blow yourself up.
That could be transporting nitro.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But that's the thing. What is TNT? Trinitrotoluene.
Yeah.
So whenever your dynamite starts sweating, right? So does everybody around it, right? Because it's separating that nitro out of there, and that's notorious for being super sensitive.
You don't want to boom.
Exactly, and so, but that's why they got this also.
My grandmother in her 90s lived with me, and I was in my early teens. And what pill are you taking, Grandma? So I'm taking nitroglycerin. Are you gonna blow up, Grandma?
I think a lot of little kids probably ask that same question.
Say, are you safe to be around, Grandma?
Yep, because that's all you see is on TV where